How do you reinvent yourself in this new year, 2020, and this new decade? I want to give you 5 of my own tips as a reinventor myself to help you out. How's it going? My name is Amelia Sims. This is Reinventing You, the channel where you can be inspired to take your own reinventing journey so that you can live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. If you have not subscribed, please scroll down now to the subscribe button. Click on that and also click on the bell. That way you'll get notifications when I post new videos, usually twice a week. Now, I have seen lately a lot of videos on YouTube that talk about reinventing yourself in 2020, reinventing yourself in this new decade. And the thing about it is, I feel like, wait a minute. I've been talking about reinventing yourself for almost 2 years now, and now everybody else seems to be getting on the bandwagon. So I thought, well, I need to put my 2 cents in, or maybe my 5 cents in, and give you my own tips from the channel that is all about reinventing yourself. No matter what part of life you're reinventing, whether it's relationships, career, your health, or some other part, I want to inspire you. So keep watching. I've got those 5 tips and a New Year's message. I hope that you will be inspired to use these tips to have your best year and your best decade yet. The first tip that I have is to use this time to your advantage. I've talked before about using your age, if you're older, midlife, age 50, that sort of thing, to your advantage to make major changes. But this is a time where you can really make major changes. And you might say, well, it's sort of past the new year. We're headed toward the middle of January, or maybe you're watching this video halfway through the year or the next year, but we're still starting a new decade. We're still in that first part of the year. In fact, I had somebody say recently that actually the Chinese New Year is, I think, January 26th. So really, you have chances all throughout the year to begin anew. And so take advantage of new times. Take advantage of Mondays. Take advantage of start of a new season. Take advantage of start of a new school year. Take advantage of this start of a new decade to make a commitment to major changes in your life. And speaking of commitment, that brings us to tip number 2. Be committed to make a change. And when I say be committed, that means you have to really say, I am going to do this. I'm going to reinvent myself in this area. Now, one of the things that I do in karate is when we have a belt presentation, after we've had an exam, we have a belt presentation. And our teacher gives us a certificate or a new belt. Now, I'm a black belt, so right now I'm just getting certificates. But we have to take some time. We take off our old belt or our current belt. We place it in front of us. We look at our certificate and we make a commitment. How are we going to do for our next exam? What improvements are we going to make? How are we going to practice? What are we going to learn? How are we going to put our best feet forward, or maybe your arms or hands, in order to do our best for the next exam? And you can do the same thing when it comes to reinventing yourself. Make a conscious commitment to really make major changes in your life. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, Amelia, I don't have a certificate or a belt to take off or anything like that. You can make a commitment by lighting a candle, by looking at some inspiring quotes, by looking at the vision board that you have created for this year or even this decade, and keep that in mind. How am I going to fulfill all those things that I see on my vision board? How am I going to live up to the quote I see in front of me? You can make commitments and have sort of your own little ceremony, however you would like. The third way to reinvent yourself this year and in any year is to get help. And I know that feels kind of strange, like I'm helping myself, I'm doing it for me, why do I need help? You've got to have some direction, you've got to have some guidance, and you're going to have some stumbling blocks. You need somebody that's going to keep you accountable, that's somebody that's going to go and bounce off ideas off of, somebody who's going to hold your hand when things get rough. So I recommend several things. Number 1, I recommend a coach. I've talked about that before. I recommend a counselor. I recommend getting mentors. Having your friends and family in your corner, if that's at all possible, is very important. Find a way to get help in other ways, whether it's this channel or another channel on YouTube, whether it's self-help books or somebody else who's giving you guidance. Maybe they have their own radio podcast or something where you can listen and get inspired and keep on track on your reinventing journey. In addition, try to find others who are like-minded. Have them as part of your support group. They're going through the same thing. They're reinventing themselves. I recommend joining our Facebook group. It's a private group. If you'll scroll down below, there's a link where you can go and join that group. Don't forget to answer all the questions or I'll think you're a robot. But other than that, I can't wait to see you on the Facebook group. This way you have some support of others who are going through a similar experience. I recommend if you're a Christian, then you do some praying. If you are another religion or don't feel like you're part of a religion, but you're spiritual, if you want to meditate, if you want to manifest something, a statement out, give it out to the universe, do it. Get all the help and support that you can for your reinventing journey. The fourth tip that I have for you to reinvent yourself in 2020 is to start somewhere. Now that seems kind of basic, but you really have to think about. Some people say start small or start with one thing, and I do really recommend that. It may be a major thing, but start with one thing. Pick one thing that you're going to reinvent this year. My Shihan, that is my teacher in karate, said this really well in his last newsletter. We overestimate what we can do in a day, and we underestimate what we can achieve in a lifetime. So in other words, you don't have to say, okay, I've got to do all these major changes and lose 50 pounds in 3 months. But you can say, I'm going to start eating more healthily, or I'm going to start walking every day. Make that one commitment to make that one change in your life. Don't try to do everything, but if you make that one change, you will find other changes will follow. In the comments below, I would love to know where you plan on starting your reinventing journey in 2020, or if you've already started, maybe something you're going to try that's new or something you're just going to continue. So in the comments below, go down and scroll and let me know. My fifth tip for you for 2020 and reinventing yourself is be prepared for challenges. That is, things are going to happen and it's going to feel like you're not getting anywhere. Don't let this be like previous New Year's resolutions where you last for 5 days and then the gym is closed, electricity's out, it's snowing, and then forget that, I'm not going, or it's too cold, or it's too expensive, or I look terrible, or can't keep up. You know how it is in past years, your New Year's resolutions lasted maybe a couple of weeks. Don't be like that because things are going to happen. I have talked about something called the what the hell effect. That is, if you have plans for the day, I am going to eat really well. I'm going to eat healthily all day. You get to work. A coworker brings some cupcakes because it's their birthday and they are your favorite cupcakes. They're chocolate and you just love chocolate. You love cupcakes. You love anything sweet actually. And you say, I'm going to have these cupcakes. And then you're like, you get home, you're like, well, what the hell? I had cupcakes for lunch. I might as well eat pizza or pasta for dinner, or maybe even just have cereal for dinner. Instead of eating healthy, you say, well, what the hell? I ditched my diet at lunch. Then I'm just going to ditch my diet. Don't do that. If you slip up, if you are trying to make a change and you don't live up to it in some way or fashion, don't give up. The next time that something comes around, it's the next meal or it's the next opportunity to make some new changes and new decisions in your life, go ahead and do it. Forgive yourself from what you did wrong previously and continue to keep going. I can tell you right now, you're going to have doubts. You're going to have times where you're like, thinking to yourself, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Is this even worth it? You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have nosy people. You're going to have people asking you all kinds of questions, and it's just going to kind of get you down. And then life is going to throw you a curveball. You know it. Something major is going to happen, and you're going to really struggle. But be prepared. Know that those challenges are going to come up. Look up at number 3. When you've got to have that accountability. You've got to have that place to go when things don't go your way in your reinventing journey. I hope these tips will be helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and also check out the private Facebook page. Well, my New Year's message for you is Happy New Year. Thank you for supporting this channel. I appreciate you, and I hope that you're going to be inspired to take a reinventing journey or continue on your reinventing journey in 2020 and beyond. Have a great one.